Running a business in Nigeria can be daunting. It has its ups and downs. One of such businesses that is able to ride that wave and be successful at it is So Fresh Neighborhood Market. And I'm here today to speak with Mr. Olagoke Balogun, the co-founder and CEO of So Fresh Neighborhood Market, as to how he has been able to run the business successfully and expand it in the last 15 years. My name is Mr Balogun. Welcome to the show.
Hello everybody, and you're welcome to the show. Now, in today's episode, I have someone that I admire a lot. I mean, I admire him from afar with what he has done with the brand. I mean, he's grown it from one branch to 15 branches, and I'm so delighted to have Mr. Olagoke Balogun, the co-founder of So Fresh Neighborhood Market. An enterprise that he started with his wife in 2010. And on today's episode, he will share his So Fresh story and a lot of business nuggets that I'm sure will be a blessing to you watching and listening. Now, on LinkedIn, he drops nuggets every single time. In fact, I'm constantly tuned in. I've turned on notifications that every time he drops a post, I make sure I read, I screenshot, I share to my friends and followers. So I'm so delighted to have Mr. Balogun on the podcast today.
Thank you very much. It's an honor, and it's so nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy that you found the time. I know you're a busy person, and I mean, the first time I sent you a request was last year. I'm glad that we're able to do this today. Thank you for the invitation. So, I mean, let's just dive in. My first question will be, how did So Fresh start? Now, because I know you had from your LinkedIn post, you were comfortable, you had a good job in oil and gas, same as your wife. Why did you decide that, you know what, I'm not sure I need more, let me start a business, especially in a volatile business economy like Nigeria?
All right. It's probably a mix of many things. It's a mix of ambition, a mix of ignorance on, how difficult it is to run and build a business, and also a mix of wanting to do something, big and make an impact. So, like you said, I was comfortable. I was working in the oil and gas industry. I was doing a very, well-paying job. But, to track back, when I finished NYSC, I was looking for a job. When I had not gotten a job, I had a business idea. And, I thought about it. I wrote it down, but I completely forgot about it. Got my first job, got my second job, got my third job. On my third job, I wasn't just really happy with what I was doing. I thought that I had capacity to do more. The job I was doing was paying me very well. It was very comfortable. But I thought that I had more in me to give than just to work and, fend for myself. And I saw a gap that I believed that I could fill and I could make a lot of impact. And it was something I was passionate about. And because I was not really... the word is passionate, I didn't want to use the word passionate because it could be cliche, but it didn't give me that, satisfaction of making an impact. So I shared it with my wife, interestingly, because I thought she wasn't going to like it. What people see today is So Fresh, but when we started, we just wanted to sell fruits and vegetables, like a, big farmers market. And so when I told her, we're going to be... how would it look like if we sell peppers and tomatoes and vegetables, but in a nice, an environment? And she liked it, and that was it. We just wanted to do something together, wanted to, create jobs, make an impact and build something, that add value. And, that was what we set out to do.
I'm sure that was the concise version of that. But my question is, why fruits? I mean, why fruits? Why not clothes? Why not selling tiles? Was it any were either of your parents market people? Where did you get that idea from?
I probably say was inspired, so the way it worked was when I thought of let's do something, we actually bounced a number of ideas. However, two things. One, there was nobody doing what we wanted to do. In fact, I had not seen it done until I traveled to South Africa, that you have, a large fruits and vegetable section being sold in stores.
Right.
It was not until like ShopRite came that you have it. So there was nothing like that. There was nobody doing that. The second part of it was that I had grown up eating fresh fruits and vegetables. So I grew up in Ilorin, around, my wife grew up in Offa, and fruits were plucked from the trees. It was fresh, it was all natural. And when we got to Lagos, we didn't find that kind of freshness around.
Freshness, yes.
So we thought, why don't we recreate that for people in store, where they could walk into the store and then you have an array of, fresh fruits, fresh vegetable, herbs, spices.
Right.
So I think it was on those two levels that we just narrowed down on fruit. It was something I grew up with, so something I really liked. I really like eating fruits. I remember one of the houses we lived when we were young, we had at least over 10 types of fruits in the house.
Like they were grown.
That they were grown because we had a very large compound.
Wow.
We had mangoes, we had oranges, sugar cane, cashew, bananas, tangerines. It was just a lot. We had pawpaw. And even where I live in Lagos now, that's what I try to replicate. I have an orange tree, I have a tangerine tree, I have coconuts, and then I have soursop.
Wow.
Because I don't have a large compound, but I have those. And then I have...
You tend them yourself?
Yes, and I also have a vegetable garden where I grew like my ewedu, spinach and all of that. So it was just something I grew up doing. And then when I came to Lagos, I said, let me replicate this for people. I think that there's a big opportunity in this.
Now, it wasn't always called So Fresh.
No.
I can't remember the name. What was it called?
I always joke that it was a very bad name, right? So it was called Fruity Veggies.
Okay.
And you can imagine, we were going to sell fruits and vegetables. So
it was...
in my own wisdom and, ingenuity, I combined the words together, and it was really a bad name because customers couldn't pronounce it. Some of them would call it Fruity G's, Fugitive, and it was just a mess for like 3 years. But we didn't change it, we left it like that. It was when the business was going to evolve, when we started thinking of what next. And by this time, we already started selling juices, smoothies, some salads, fruit bowls. And we thought, what's the name that captured the essence of what we now do? We were not just doing fruits and vegetables alone. And then we started bouncing off names for almost like a month. And then one day, the names didn't click because we had, fresh, natural, wholesome, different stuff. And then one day my wife woke up and she said, So Fresh. And I said, that's it. The next day, we were at CAC, registered the name, trademarked it. And that's how, So Fresh, we changed the name in 2013.
Right.
After 3 years to So Fresh.
Okay. Now, how I got in contact with the So Fresh brand was I needed to go on a weight loss journey, and someone said, "Oh, there's this place where they sell all natural food. You can get smoothies, sandwiches, and all of that." Now, so anytime I want to go on a detox, I try to apply for a So Fresh plan. They bring something. Did you set out to do that, where So Fresh would align with? Or if you want to lose weight, if you're on a weight loss, if you're on a, is that how? Because sometimes you want to do something, but then you find out that other people now find different uses for what you
absolutely.
So how did that come about?
Interesting. I don't think I've ever told this story, right? No, we did not set out to do that. The only thing we set out to do is sell whole fresh fruits and vegetables. That was all. You just come in, you pick your watermelon, your pineapple, your oranges, you picked your spinach, you picked your efirin, whatever. That was it. Interestingly, when we started, about a year, customers started calling us unhealthy food place,
Yes.
an health center.
Health center, yes.
I didn't like it.
Why?
I said no, because I thought that for us to start calling ourselves a health place, a healthy food place, I didn't have like the expertise. I'm not a nutritionist. I really don't know about, food combinations. And I didn't want to label myself. I just wanted to sell fruits and vegetables. But customers kept saying that if we had a particular professor, he would come, sit down with us, take his fruits, his vegetables, his smoothies, and he always told us, you guys, you are an health store. Then there was a point in time, sales wasn't too good. We introduced chocolates. The man who told us, do not sell this thing in your store and all of that. We removed it. And then gradually, I began to realize that the kind of customers we were attracting, why they were coming to us was sometimes for health reasons. We had people that were on special diets, maybe diabetic, maybe hypertensive, and they were careful about what they were eating. People that wanted to manage their weight. We were just attracting, and like you said, it's a very important point. We listen to the market.
Yes.
This is what the market wants. This is what customers are saying they want. This is the use case for a brand or a product you think you have created. Because at the end of the day, it's customers that determine what they're going to buy from you.
Yes.
If they are not buying what you're selling, in fact, it may not just be the physical product, but the messaging. You have to get the messaging right.
Yes.
So you can have two people selling fruits, but your messaging is also part of your sales process. So we started to now kind of pivot or change our business model to attract and cater to those classes of people that are focused on their health. And that was how the business evolved into becoming a healthy food restaurant, full-scale restaurant, where we sold, ready-made meals, all freshly made, every day.
So my follow-up question will be to that business. What would you say to that business owner? When is the right time to pivot? When is the right time to? Because you said talk to your customer, but of course, customers say different things. I mean, the professor was gracious enough to tell you, or to help you identify even what you didn't see, that this chocolate, take it out. Some people will say, no, is this chocolate? This chocolate is what I want to do. But how do you know which customer to listen to, which customer not to listen to? Because if you keep hearing different voices, you would do 1,000 things and then lose your identity. So what would you say to that business owner? When is the right time to pivot? What sort of customers do you listen to take the appropriate action for your business?
So I'll say the first thing is that your business should have a clear purpose or mission. This is who we are as a business. Yes. This is why we exist. Why that's important is that you're going to hear so many things.
Yes, exactly.
But you want to always judge everything you hear from customers against your purpose or mission as a business. So the first thing is to have a clear mission for the business. This is who we are. This is why we exist. This is the impact we want to make in our society. Then, when you start a business, you have a plan, or it's an ongoing business. When you have real contact with the world, that is when you really know what customers want from you.
Yes.
And so you have to be actively listening to your customers every day. You have to go out for it, talk to customers, do surveys, observe, how they use your products, and take data. No matter how small data is, it could be, your sales data, so the products they're buying, how they are combining the products, what are they combining with the products. So how do you know when you want to pivot? One, if you collect data over a period of time, I'm talking of hard numbers now, you can begin to look at your sales data. You can begin to form patterns to say, what are customers buying the most? When are they buying it? When they buy this, what do they buy with it? The only way you can know that is if you take your data seriously. So when you look at the patterns forming from how customers are transacting with you, you start to see a pattern form.
Right.
I would also say that when you see a critical mass of customers asking for a product, asking for a service, so you find that sometimes one customer will say this, I'll say it's not enough. But when you take customer data or feedback over a period of time, it could be a month, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, and you see the same thing repeat itself over and over again, it's now time to test it.
Take action. Okay.
Take action, test it out, see what the customers say. I'm going to say a recent one for SoFresh because that's something we've adopted because it worked for us in the beginning. In fact, like I told you, we're going to sell fruits and vegetables only. But the first month, customer kept coming to the store to say, do you have juices? Do you have smoothies? We kept saying no.
Oh, right.
After month 1, I went straight to Game. I remember Game had opened in Nigeria. And I said, give me your biggest juicer. Give me your biggest smoothie maker. I bought the 2, took it back to the store. We put it on a small table in the center of the store. And that's how we started selling juices and smoothies. And then in the space of 6 months, the juices and smoothies became the biggest thing that we were selling. So again, listen to your customers. And so test it out. You can start on a small scale. So I said I was going to say a recent story. For a long time, customers have been saying, do you have tiger nut? Do you have tiger nut? I don't drink tiger nut. Right. I don't think I've ever walked into a store and said, buy tiger nut. So I'm like, what is this tiger nut? I mean, once a while, maybe I drank it at a friend's place or something. But I didn't know tiger nut was a big
deal, yes.
Then like 2-3 years ago, we knew that we needed to create new products category because we had not created products for a long time. And when we looked at our customer, feedback form, so we used to collect customer feedback form. So we sat down and analyzed the feedback. Part of the question is what other products? Overwhelmingly,
tiger nut
was there. So okay, let's go for it. I mean, it doesn't negate our purpose. It's natural, it's fresh, we can make it. And so we did our own research, we formulated our own products, and we did customer testing and all of that, and we launched this product. Tell me why in less than 2 years, all the 3 variants of tiger nut are in our top 20 products.
Wow.
That is to tell you the power of listening to your customers. It's not what you want to sell, it's what customers want to buy. As long as it aligns with your organizational purpose.
Amazing. I would ask that. My next question would be, SoFresh has 15 branches,
so we used to have 15 branches,
okay.
But now we are 12. We decided to close down some, for some strategic reasons.
Right.
So we are now at 12.
Okay, so even branching out is something that I tried to branch out once and it was a colossal failure. So how have you been able to expand and maintain? Because even 12 is quite. You have in Port Harcourt,
Abuja,
Ibadan, yes,
and Lagos.
Why don't you have in Ilorin? As an ode to your childhood and your upbringing.
We'll get there one day.
Anyways, Ilorin, you heard it first. Mr Balogun is bringing SoFresh to Ilorin very soon. So, how did expanding? First of all, when did the idea of expanding come up, and then why expand? Why put so many branches? Because that, for me, when I hear expansion, I hear overheads, I hear more staff wahala, I hear a whole lot. But why was that important for SoFresh?
Okay, so again, growth is business driven. So I'll just try to tell the story of how SoFresh expanded, and I hope people pick lessons. We started in Ogba. 3 years, Ogba wasn't doing well. It was a failure, wanted to close down, but we decided to give it one more shot, right. And we went to Ikoyi. So we opened in Ikoyi in 2013, after 3 years. And Ikoyi store picked up almost immediately. Ikoyi was doing very well. Now, what happened was, we now started getting, because Ikoyi was doing very well, people started knowing us. Social media marketing, social media marketplaces just started booming. So you have Instagram, you had Facebook, and people started, knowing SoFresh. And we started getting requests from mainland that, they needed our products and our services, and we started doing deliveries. But it wasn't efficient to do delivery from Ikoyi to Allen, but that was what we were doing. And we started looking at our delivery data. We're doing about 15 deliveries to the mainland every day. There are some parts of mainland we could not even reach, so we cut our delivery. So we looked at the number and said, there's a justification for us to now go back to the mainland. That's how we landed in Okpebi, Ikeja, 2015, after 2 years. So we landed in Okpebi. When we opened in Okpebi, it was as if they were waiting for us. From day one, sales took off. And we started, selling from mail Ikoyi and, Okpebi. Again, we look at our sales data, delivery. So on the mainland, you were having, requests from Yaba, you were having requests from Bagada and all over. And then we knew that, now we had created something unique, something people wanted all over. In our Instagram DM, we were getting requests from Abuja. When are you guys coming to Abuja? People will fly from Abuja, maybe over the weekend.
Buy stuff,
take it back. And we picked Abuja as the next market. So the first state we went out to was Abuja. So it was basically, market driven, and looking at our data, and of course looking at other general data to see where our market was. And that was how we knew that we had created something unique. And around that time also, the demand for healthy food, freshly made was all over. The awareness around food, healthy living, fitness, exercise was growing globally. And we were just well positioned, and we knew that we pioneered the market, we started it, and we needed to maximize, that initial, traction.
Right.
And that was how we expanded. What made it, easy was our systems and structures. So I'm a stickler for process and for systems, creating clear structure for how things would be done. For some day one, even when we were one outlet, two outlets, we had clear processes for everything we did. So it was easy to replicate because we knew exactly how we did everything, from how we made our products to how we cleaned the store, to how we even open. We have a store opening process that we've had since 2010.
Wow.
When you open a store, what do you do? When you close a store, what do you do? What do you switch off? What do you clean? What do you leave on? Where do you put the keys? All of that was codified. So we're going to open outlets. We just needed to move that process and evolve it, as the business grew. I mean, the next thing was, building, capable supervisors and managers. So we invested a lot in training people. Of course, in hiring the right people, for a start, and then, training them and continuous training. When I tell people now that, because it's a heavy operational business, every year we have compulsory training, a set of compulsory training that every staff goes through 3 times, a year. So that we keep, what those things that are very important to the business and to the operations is always at the forefront of everybody's mind. So I was saying, design, clear processes. It could be very short description of how you want work to be done, what you can call an SOP. Very important. The second thing is, supervision, that level of supervision, and make sure you train and invest in your managers and supervisors. And then thirdly, train. And lastly, audits. Up to today, every SoFresh store gets audited at least 3 times a week.
Yeah, I saw your LinkedIn post where you talked about when you were auditing monthly and people were using eggs to do their breakfast.
Yeah, but not only inventory audits. So that's 3 times. So we do a quality and food safety audit every week. Then we do inventory audit, financial audit every week. Then we do an operational audit every week. Because we're looking at operationally, are you following the processes, what needs to be done, how you are making products, how you are opening the store, how you are closing it, and all of that, how you are attending to the customer service audit. Then we do quality and food safety. Are you following the quality, food safety, hygiene processes? So your audit, especially if you have a multi-location business, there needs to be a way for you to monitor performance, monitor how things are being done. So with this, layers of, controls and monitoring, you can, expand successfully and still have, similar standards, replicate the standards, and replicate excellence across. But it is a lot of work. I must not, because for all this thing I said, we have people doing it. We have the quality and we have a quality department that focuses on that. We have people in operations that focus on that. We have an internal audit team that focus on that, because we want to make sure that the results are the same, inputs are the same across all the locations. The experience is the same. So you land from Port Harcourt, you enter a store at MMA2 Airport, is the same quality. Then you lodge in Ikeja and you call our Okpebu branch for delivery. It has to be the same thing.
Right. So my question will be, when do you know, we know you said that you talked about when to start a store. How do you know when to close a store? What are the factors response? What do you think about when you say, you know what, this place is not working? What's your mindset when you say, I think it's time we shut down this store? What goes through your mind? I remember I had to shut down a store and I felt like I failed. But I knew the thing was not, the store wasn't working. Against all odds, we tried, but it wasn't working, and I dragged it for a while. It's like, was literally like flogging a dead horse. And after a while, I needed to. And
that's what you never want to do.
Yes.
You never want to flog a dead horse.
I needed to come to the reality that this store wasn't working. We needed to shut down and re-strategize. How is that? How does that play out for you every time you need to shut down a software branch?
First of all, I must say that for any multi-location business, there is no multi-location business in this world that gets their market research, market 100%.
Right.
Everybody closes stores. Stores like McDonald's, Starbucks, all of them, they close stores yearly and they open stores yearly. That's just what it is. Is this what you want? No, but it's the reality. For closing a store, you should know before you even open the store. What I mean is that you should have a set of clear criteria for each store. So I'm opening this store in Yaba. What are my expectations? This is the rent. This is the amount it takes me to run it every month. You take all of that into corporation. The capex, that's the capital cost to start it up, and all of that. Then the daily operational expenses, and then you ask yourself, how much do I need to make to cover my cost? So if your running cost every month is 10 million, and you tell yourself, I need to be able to do a revenue of 20 million every month, so that by the time I remove my cost of materials, let's say, even my example I've given now, the store is already failing, right? Because if your running cost is 10 million and you make 20 million a month, let's say your gross margin is 50%, that means it's 10 million.
Yes.
So that means your profit in the month is 0.
Yes.
So already you know that, this store. So what do? You know that from day one, the store is not going to pick up. So by experience, you can say that my store will break even in 7 months. That means in 7 months, it will be able to take care of its own expenses. I will not need to inject anything from maybe the head office or from an extra account. It could be 1 year. And then you're looking at the trajectory. So let's say in this example I gave, our break-even point is 20 million. And then I say 8 months, my store should be making 20 million. So month 1, month 2, so you are tracking it daily. Of course, to make 20 million, you know the number of customers you need to get into the store, because you know your average spend. My average spend is 10,000. So how many customers do I expect in a day? So you should have the number of revenue, the number of customers, and all other metrics that tells you that this store is doing well. Also the OPEX, what is the expected operational cost? That should also tell you that this store is doing well, or are we spending too much in this store for the level of revenue I'm expecting? So if you have all those data before you start to measure month on month how the progress. So first month you make 12 million, okay. Next month you make 13, 14, and then it's growing. So you know that this store is growing.
Yes.
By 1 year, let's say your break-even is 20 million, but you're at 18, you know you're close. You ask yourself, what do I need to do to get to that 20? Meanwhile, where we are going is still like 25 or 30. So I think that, for business, you just have to be very objective and brutal with how you evaluate, stores or your business. You want to have clear numbers of what you're expecting. So for example, let's say you did all you can and you are not able to go beyond the 18 million. Then you ask yourself, how can I turn this store profitable? Do I need to reduce my store space? Do I need to reduce my staff? How can I cut costs? So that I cut back that 10 million operational cost to 7 million. Because this store is proving not to be a 20 million naira store. So basically, I'll say it's about numbers. Sometimes there's also gut feeling, right? There are stores that we've been very close to shutting it down, but we just looked at the area, the numbers, and said, but there's a number here. There are customers here. Why are we not doing well? So you sit down and evaluate everything. I remember even last year, there was a store that we looked at and said, will this store ever make it? We put in a lot of money. What's the point of keep incurring operational costs? Maybe we just cut our losses and put it at some cost. But we looked at it again. There was a reason we went to this place. Okay, let's try this, let's try it, and started trying new things. And the store picked up. So really it's about, being actively engaging with the store and giving yourself time. If you've given yourself time, it's not working, you're not getting improvements in revenue, you're not able to bring down the cost, you really want to think about shutting it down and asking yourself, okay, can I move this asset or resources to somewhere else? Sometimes you don't want to look like a failure,
exactly,
for closing a store, but hey, you're already failing, even if you don't look at it. And people don't care, right? People don't care. I've closed stores, I've opened stores. Nobody really cares. We think too much about what people think. Yes, maybe they saw it online. This store has closed. People have moved on to the next thing. So no need to dwell on it too much. And for you to know that even big businesses, they close and open stores every day. But of course, as a small business, you want to be very careful. You don't have the resources of McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be very strategic. You want to ask a lot of questions. In fact, there are some places we were going to open in Ikorodu. And for 3 months, we were running pop-up stores. So we announced pop-up stores for 2-3 days. We go to Ikorodu, we sell. One, we were letting customers know that So Fresh is coming. Yeah. We're also testing, are people going to buy So Fresh? And it was good. We actually got a store in Ikorodu to open. But of course, so many internal factors around the property, we eventually didn't open. Up to today, people they go, we don't want to bring So Fresh to Ikorodu. We were close to opening 2 years ago. We will still come back to Ikorodu, right. But the property didn't work for us, so we gave it back to the landlord. We got our money back. But I just use the example to say that you want to be very strategic as a small business. You don't have a lot of money to throw around.
Yes.
So you want to at least get some level of assurance. It's not 100% that there is market here. So you test it out, you start small, and then if it's failing, you want to see what else can I do to move it around.
Wow, amazing. Let's talk about running a business in a very murky economy like Nigeria. First of all, I want to ask, are you going to take So Fresh outside Nigeria to maybe the West African?
We've always had Africa on our sites, but for now, at least within the next 1 to 2 years, focus is still on Nigeria. We believe that there is still a lot of untapped market. Yeah. But yes, we have Africa in our sights.
All right, great. So, building a thriving business in Nigeria, how do you do it from dealing with farmers, dealing with everything, the economy? Sometimes it seems the government wakes up and says, how do you frustrate? What can we do to frustrate Nigerian businesses today? But how you seem to be able to ride that wave. That So Fresh has seemed to be able to ride that wave. What exactly have you been able to do to make the Nigerian economy work for you?
Yeah. You asked in the beginning why, and I said part of it was ignorance, right? Ignorance to how difficult, how tough, how unpredictable it was, running a business anywhere, first of all, then talk of Nigeria. I'll say you have to have a very tough skin, because it's tough. Everything looks like it's working against you.
Yes.
Right, from the government to infrastructure, to the market itself. Since we started business in 2010, I'll say there was a brief period of boom inside of the economy, but since then, even your customers are fighting to live, right? So it's not just about you alone. When your customers don't have money or they don't have enough disposable income, they are very mindful of what they buy, how many times they buy, especially if you are not saying like an essential product, right? It becomes even more difficult. So the market itself fights you, the government fights you. Nobody really cares about how, small businesses survive in Nigeria. And so because of that, right, I would say, first of all, you need to have a very tough skin, but you also need to be very deliberate and have a clear vision of what you're trying to do and the reason you're trying to do it. You have to constantly evaluate the markets. That means looking at what you've done, looking at your numbers, looking at the customers, constantly asking yourself, what do you need to do? How do you navigate this? Is this working? Is this not working? You have to constantly be looking at your business and trying to maximize the opportunities that you have. I tell businesses, when you start a business, when you're running a growing business, you want to be sure that every naira you deploy has the biggest ROI. So a question I ask myself is, today, if I have 100 million naira to invest, what is the best way? What is the biggest ROI I can get from this 100 million? You want to be very, very deliberate in how you deploy resources, so that whatever you deploy resources in, you're maximizing the benefit. I'll say that, you have to be very frugal with what you spend. I usually tell small businesses 80 to 90% of every money you spend in the starting days should be what will directly lead to sales. You must think about getting that money back. And so you have to be very, very, frugal and deliberate with what you spend money on to be sure that this investment is getting out the best ROI for this spend. Secondly, I would say in terms of government, you want to be ahead of the curve. So go out, because it's very difficult to find regulatory requirements in Nigeria. One day, a parastatal or government agency will just come and say, this law was made in 2018. They have not just been enforcing it, but now the current governor has said we should be enforcing it. You've never seen the law, you've not heard about the law. You go into the law, you find it there, and it's very ambiguous. The way laws are drafted, it's very ambiguous. And so you will see a particular law that says that you can charge a business, they can say a large business. Now, they don't define what the large business is. So whoever comes to you will define it for him or herself, that this qualifies as a large business. And then they say you can find the large business from 50,000 to 500,000.
They have to charge you the 500,000.
What kind of range? What kind of range? I mean, what did the range in secondary school? What kind of range is that? And so they give all the powers to whatever. So, you have to be abreast with what the law says. Proactively go and look for it, right? And you have to be smart about it. When we go to some agencies, we don't tell them our company name. We just go and say, we want to start business, because once they know then you reveal yourself to them. So you want to really be abreast of, what governs your industry, what are regulations, what are expected fees and all of that, and prepare for it so that you know when they have come to extort you or when they're on the right side of the law and all of that. Other than that, honestly, it's just to keep going, be very resilient. And don't be fixated on what you're doing. If it's not working, be true to yourself. You can pivot, you can change, you can do something else, you can modify what you're doing. Don't stick on one place. And I'll just say last, I think I've said it before, but sales. Selling. A lot of entrepreneurs are not, attuned to selling. One of the skills you want to develop early, because honestly, sales cures everything in business. So it cures a lot of problems. It's not everything, but it cures a lot of problems, right? Because cash, money, is the lifeblood of every business. So every single day, you must be sure that you are going to you are selling. And it's an art, it's a science, and you are not born with the science of selling. You have to learn it.
Yeah.
So I say, go out and learn how to sell.
Yeah.
Sell.
Awesome. As we round up, you write a lot of very interesting and impactful stuff on LinkedIn. Literally opening your playbook to people to learn. You don't find that common with business owners, especially Nigerian business owners. They want to keep their cards close to their chest. Why is that so important to you to get that information now to help? I know that your wife, Mrs. Balogun, runs a consulting firm for businesses.
Yes.
So why is that important to both of you? Because I remember in 2020 during the lockdown, I attended, I think it was 2 seminars. Yeah. There are free seminars that both of you did.
Yeah.
So my question is, why is that important to you to get information out? Not just, come and buy my products, but let me teach you what I know. Everything I know, I'm giving it out for free. Some, of course, you pay, but knowledge seems to be really important to you. Why is that?
So this particular, it's born out of frustration, right? I became very frustrated sometime last year. Frustrated because I looked at the amount of effort I had put into running the business. And I tell myself, if I put the same amount of effort in a different place,
right,
I think I would have done way more than I'm doing. That's the first thing. I see similar businesses that are putting in the same amount of effort, but they're not getting commensurate results. Then the third level is that when I started talking to a lot of businesses, I see that there's a lot of ignorance about how to run a business, what makes a business successful. And, one of the primary ways we can grow and drive this economy is if small businesses actually grow and survive. And so it's just a passion of mine. I wrote an article on LinkedIn, recently, maybe like 2 months ago, and I said, where are the Nigerian equivalents of international businesses? I was focusing on my industry. So you have the pizza brands, you have some donuts brands, you have some ice cream brands. The biggest brands in the food QSR space are all foreign brands. But you have a lot of smaller brands with 10, 15, 20 outlets that are Nigerian, but they're not growing. Beyond that, how do we get those businesses to grow from 1 to 10, then from 10 to 20? I figured out that one of the things lacking was knowledge. Some people just don't know how to do it better. And it's my own passion to see businesses, especially, over the last 2 decades, I think we focused a lot on tech businesses. And I think we've reached a point, they had their own fantastic ride. They've contributed significantly to the economy. They are driving commerce at the likes of Money Point, Piggyvest. But the engine room is still the small businesses. And we've not had a lot of focus. It originally occurred to me we had accelerators, we have incubators, but all of them are mostly for tech businesses. A friend of mine left Nigeria she grew up in the US. She came back to Nigeria, started the business, and for some reasons went back and started that business. And when she went back, she got into an incubator for 2 years. It was a traditional manufacturing business. And that incubator helped her refine the products, source for the market. Today, the business is doing well. It's almost becoming a regional brand.
Wow.
Yeah, but she got a lot of support. And so, it's just my dream that a lot of people are out there struggling. They don't know what to do. There's, dearth of knowledge. And just occurred to me, I've done this for 15 years now. I think there are some things I've learned, that can help businesses navigate, especially when, so I write a lot for small, medium businesses. Yeah. And I think there's a lot I know that I can help businesses to navigate those beginning and trying challenges so that they can figure it out. Of course, on the side I also do some consulting, but it's also not every business that's starting that will be able to pay for consulting. Some will even go on my link in my profile and say, oh, you charge this for one-on-one, it's too much. Yes, but I also give a lot of free content. So it's just a way for me to give back and help small businesses that are struggling with this knowledge. If you also watch some of my writing, I advise entrepreneurs to go and seek for knowledge.
Yes.
Go and seek for knowledge, because there's so much you don't know about business. Even after 15 years, for me to move to the next level, I need to upgrade and upskill myself. Your business will not grow beyond your capacity. And you have to constantly grow your capacity. So there are times you seek for free knowledge, my writings, other people's writings. There are many free content on YouTube everywhere, even free courses in courses like universities. Take those free courses. But when you have the resources, go for a proper paid business school to learn how to run a business. And so I think that's my passion, to see people understand business, to share my experience. And again, I think it's I don't know the word now. It's just part of thinking. This is 15 years now. I just feel in that place to start to give back to my community, to my environment, and that's small businesses, and that's just why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Coincidentally, your post on where you talked about everything changed for you when you went to Lagos Business School is also my status currently, because I felt it was profound. Where you said the fact that you're a good baker doesn't mean you'll be able to run a successful bakery or a successful business.
A good baker and baking business, two completely different things.
And I think that's a mistake a lot of people make. They will say, oh, I like this, I will start a business, and then it falls flat, and they think, oh, how come it didn't work? But they just realize that there are so many elements that go into all of that. As we round up, I was going to, how is it like working with your wife?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's been one of the best decisions I've made to run the business with my wife. It has also come with its many challenges, especially. So this is how the trajectory went, right? First year, second year, we were excited about what we were building. It was good, and then around about the third, fourth year, we started having some misalignments, because again, it's two personalities, the way we see things, the way we've experienced this. Even like I said, just the fact that she's a lawyer, I'm a scientist, biochemistry. We have different mindset about how we approach things. And then the fact that you are business partners and you are romantic partners creates a lot of complications. And so business partners alone is wahala. You have people that don't know themselves, they are friends, they do business partner, and then they face wahala.
Yes.
Marriage. So now it's like you do times 2, geometric progression. Then, but I think what kept us going is, a number of things. One, we really knew ourselves. We were very close friends even before we got married. We trusted each other, and we had a clear objective for the business. We agreed on so many things around with the kind of business we want to build, how we're going to manage finances, who was going to undo what. I think this is a big one. Everybody had clear roles. She was never my wife in the business. I was never, madam's husband in the business. No, from day one, she handled operations, HR. That's it. Then I did strategy, finance, marketing. There are times we even switch. Okay, let me do operations, you do this. So everyone had clear roles. It was not just, come and say, I'm a guy's wife in the business. No. So she was building and developing her career and contributing significantly. I was doing that as well. So we had that from day one. And, we always just aligned on, and I knew that she had the best interest of the business at heart. So even when our methods or thought process didn't align, everybody compromised every now and then. But compromise has to be from the two people. Yeah. One person cannot be compromised all the time. There will be resentment. There will be, built up anger and all of that. So it's just walking through those challenging times. But when both of you are able to align, people that have the same vision, the same mind, love and trust each other, it can be the most, beautiful form of partnership when you run business together. So my experience has been, really fantastic.
Shout out to Mrs. Bimbola. I think she has a new book out, right?
Yes, so she wrote a book last year. Of course, from all the experiences, what we don't even say, she ran a law firm for about 3 years.
While the new business started.
Before So Fresh took over.
Right?
Yeah. So she's had, almost 18 years of, running business, and she's put all of that into her book. And the book is really doing well. And
what's it called?
Start small, scale big. Start small, scale big. She has, a website for it where you can order, or you go to our Instagram. When you go to our Instagram page, you'll be able to click the link. The link to order is there.
All right, we'll put the link to order on the show notes. Lastly, what's your final word for aspiring African entrepreneurs looking to start? I mean, not just maybe food, just any kind of business. They're in that. I say Africa because not just Nigeria, the African continent has a peculiarity of the fact that you don't get too much support. The government is stifling, but you know that this is what you're supposed to do. What is the one word or one parting shot for that person wanting to go into business? Is in paid employment, thinking I think I should start a business, but I don't know how to go about it. I'm afraid. What's that? What would you tell that person?
Okay, I guess I'll probably summarize some of the things I've said. So I'll say it's very important to have a clear vision of what you're trying to do. So be very sure this is what I want to do and this is why I'm doing it. And then I'll say start by testing it out. Don't go all big. Even if you have 50, if you have 100 million, you had a lot to learn. That business you've envisioned, the market will receive it differently. So, test it out, start small, get feedback, and be open and flexible. And finally, a very important point, like I said, is you need to learn about doing business.
Yes.
There is nobody that is born and knows how to do business. Yes. You have to learn it. Maybe there are a few geniuses out there. Maybe there are a few geniuses out there, but there is a science, there's a language, there's a culture of business, and you need to learn and understand. If not, you're going to run into a lot of problems. So learn about doing business.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Balogun, for your time. Thank you for. I mean, like I always say, I look forward to reading your posts on LinkedIn. They've been a blessing to me. Every time I post, I screenshot, I put it on my page, my status. I get a lot of feedback, positive feedbacks, and I want to say well done with everything. Like I said, I've managed you from afar. So doing this is such a dream come true for me. We have the same son name, so I see him as my elder brother. So thank you so much. I hope we're able to do this again, record another episode where you share more insights on your business. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and for watching this show. Of course, feedback is very, very important to us. Follow us on our Instagram and social media pages. And of course, till you hear from me and I hear from you next time, Stay inspired.